Hello, and thank you for joining us here today. We discuss the intersection of sustainability and technology, and helping us break down how these topics come together is Naive from China, Aviva's Vice President of the Middle East, Turkey, and Central Asia. Naive, thank you for joining us and welcome to the show.
Thank you, Matthew, for being at Aviva offices and for inviting me for this discussion.
Well, as you mentioned, we're here in Aviva's offices, which are in the UAE. So I think this is probably a good place to start the conversation. The UAE has a very ambitious net zero target in 2050. Aviva itself is obviously a major industrial player. I'd love to understand how you see Aviva's role inside those UAE sustainability efforts.
Aviva, we're already engaged in the heavily engaged in the sustainability and the net zero plans that are in UAE and across the GCCs as well, and not specifically only in UAE. We have multiple engagements with different sectors in the market, be it in oil and gas, be it in the power utilities, and even with the EPC contractors as well, where they have also their mandates toward their end users, being in the power or oil and gas sectors. So with the technologies that we currently have and the portfolio that we have, we're supporting clients with the sustainability targets, starting from the simulation and design phases of building a facility, or even from the inception days to build, operate, optimize, and maintain those facilities. And Aviva has a broader portfolio across all those phases of any project or execution of a new facility to help support the sustainability goals, not intentionally or potentially during the operation and execution, also from the design phase, where we have the technologies that can help in the design phase to meet the sustainability requirements and make sure that we are targeting toward net zero or carbon neutral using the technologies that are available today within the portfolio. And then potentially when you go into the build and execute and operate, as well, we have lots of technology that can help in continue driving the sustainability and meeting the net zero targets.
You used a word there quite a few times, this idea of technology that can help. Specifically, what are we talking about here? I mean, I assume this is going to be some sort of artificial intelligence related brief. What does that look like?
Exactly. So spot on. So let us go into the operate and maintain part, even on optimization. We have technologies for like in the maintenance part of the process. We have technologies on predictive maintenance or predictive analytics that uses artificial intelligence and machine learning, whereby you would be collecting data, processing it, developing machine learning technologies or models that will help do predictions of potential failures. So you'll prevent failures before they happen. So potentially it's like having a system that would run on its own. It will take live data from the equipments, and mainly it's toward critical equipments. So to prevent any unplanned shutdowns, by preventing unplanned shutdowns, potentially you are supporting any facility or any entity with their net zero targets or sustainability. Because when you are hit by an unplanned shutdown and you're not aware of the potential incidents going to happen, normally with critical equipments, it could impact potentially the production. It could maybe impact the upstream and the downstream of where the equipment is placed, and it could lead maybe to flaring. So flaring, it means emissions, and hence put that all in context, potentially that predictive analytics will allow any client in any process, not specifically in oil and gas, could be in power in any vertical, to drive toward predictive analytics that will allow or help with the sustainability and the net zero goals.
I'm going to stop here for a second, just because I need to ask you a personal question here. I think you're entering your fifth year with Aviva now, and you're deeply embedded in these technologies. I have a personal problem with artificial intelligence, which is it's so difficult to keep up with the technology day to day because it's developing so fast. How do you stay on top of all of that? How do you stay on top of that technology evolution?
Look, potentially, as you rightly said, it's evolving, and it's evolving so fast. Maybe we're not able to capture or to catch up with what's going in there. But at the end of the day, what we always advise our clients and we advise ourselves is the use of the AI technology. it doesn't mean that if you are using AI technology, I should be using the same technology. So it depends on the use case that you have and the problem that you want to solve. So once we identify the use case and the problem that we want the AI to help us solving it, then we need to understand the data that comes with that. Because if there is no proper data is not contextualized, the AI will not deliver any value or will deliver limited value. And potentially, yes, the AI is moving fast. We talk about agents, agentic AI, and the names and keep on growing. As we were talking previously about digital twins, we're still talking about digital twins, but AI is taking over as well. But as well, we need to make sure that we understand how and where and when to use AI. And if I have the environment available to be able to take that AI, consume it, and deliver the value out of it. Because AI at the end of the day is a technology like any other technology. That technology will need as well the data to be there, will need the process to be there, will need the people to be there. So it's a combination of 3-4 pillars to make sure that any AI project will lead to success. Because if you bring any AI today to any use case, you don't understand what is it that you want to achieve, you don't have the input that the AI needs, then potentially you're buying something that you can put on the shelf and delivers no value. So we need to keep on educating ourselves of what is it that, or whatever AI capabilities are being developed and what I can consume out of it. Not necessarily I'll be able to consume everything that's available in there, because maybe I don't need it. So potentially I need to be as well aware of what's being developed, but most important, when I use what part of that AI, because it's all over the place.
It's a fascinating point you raise here, which is actually at odds with a lot of what you usually hear. It's almost a slow down on the hype. We need to talk about the infrastructure behind this. Do you think that's an accurate analysis of
I think it's very important because potentially, depending as well where the AI technology will reside. And we talk a lot now about data centers, where all the technology is going to be residing in there. But potentially, do we have all the components available to make that data center functioning and available? And most important part is the energy. From where you're going to bring more electricity and more power to provide it to those data centers. And we're talking about gigawatts all over the place. And only in the Gulf, it's becoming a huge potentially problem to solve. But at the end of the day, we need the AI. And the whole direction is going into that to take advantage of the technology, but we need to make sure that the infrastructure is available and ready for that AI to function whenever we want it to function.
You mentioned earlier in one of your answers this idea that you can target AI towards helping address particular problems. I want to talk about one just in particular, which is a pretty big one, which is this idea of the energy transition, which is very much a buzzword, which is still ongoing. I think to a certain degree, we can agree the world understands that an energy transition is taking place, needs to take place, and we're moving towards more renewable energy. But one issue with this, of course, is the cost. Energy transition is enormously expensive by any count. It's in the trillions of dollars. How does artificial intelligence as a technology help address that problem, help address the idea of moving towards renewable energy and implementing those kinds of technologies?
I think from my perspective, I would see definitely the hype on energy transition is there as well as it is with AI. How many of those projects have made it to live? I think big number of projects and lots of investments are still going in there, be it in solar, be it in wind, and so on and so forth. At the end of the day, artificial intelligence, as we said, we'll talk about maybe later a little bit on data centers because it's important for me. From an Aviva perspective, as I mentioned at the beginning, the simulation and design, the technology is available today with AI infused in those technology, in those products that can help in the simulation and design of the renewable energy, be it a solar plant, be it a wind farm, and so on and so forth. So we can use the technology to help us design, simulate and design better of what we want today. And potentially when we are operating, for example, we use as well the same predictive analytics technology in the wind to monitor the turbines of the wind farm to make sure that we are getting the best out of that turbine and to prevent, again, unplanned shutdown so we can generate the electricity that we're looking for. Because eventually, if you build all that solar plants or if you build the wind platforms and potentially those platforms fail every now and then without doing any predictive or preventive maintenance, then the billions of dollars that you're talking about are wasted. So eventually technologies are available there. Yes, we keep on evolving as we move forward. And I think the project that costs $1 billion today, maybe in the near future will cost $500 million. And then later on could cost $100 million. Because the technology definitely helps in reducing cost as you move forward. Because as we evolve, we get better output, whether in the design phase or the operate phase.
Do you remember this phrase that everyone used to talk about 10 years ago or more, this idea that data is the new oil and that having your data and proper data, clean data was going to be the way that you power the future. You've mentioned this idea a couple of times. I think that artificial intelligence and its use in predictive analytics is kind of the key driver here. And I suppose if that's the case, your inputs, as you've mentioned earlier, need to be completely correct. You need to have the right data, the right inputs. Beyond predictive analytics, though, these other sort of ways that we can utilize artificial intelligence, what are they and what are you guys doing with them?
To go back to the data, because this is a very interesting topic, for sure, the more we are building facilities, whether on renewables, whether on wind farm, whether we're expanding on LNG production, whether on crude production, and you name it, it means the amount of data is getting bigger and bigger. So with the Aviva portfolio, we have a technology called Aviva Pi technology, where we host this enormous amount of data into one platform and we contextualize it, because raw data means nothing to an AI program or an AI agent or whatever we want to put it in that perspective. So once we contextualize it, we make it ready to be utilized by AI depending on the use case that I described before. The data is ready, the AI is available, but to do what? What problem are we trying to solve? So potentially, you have the data that's available in there that needs to be consumed by AI. The more data you provide, the better results you're going to get from AI. We have AI in predictive analytics or preventive maintenance, as we mentioned. We have AI in scheduling. We have AI in contextualizing the data. Lots of advanced technologies now to do that. We have AI, for example, on advanced analytics in the Connect, which is the industrial cloud of Aviva, that you can do a lot with taking the power of the cloud, contextualization of the data, sharing, the availability to share the data in a secured way. Lots of different use cases when it comes to AI. So I just mentioned 4 or 5 use cases of where AI can bring value. Then potentially maybe an AI on a scheduling process or an optimization process might bring value for an X-client, might not bring value for a different client because the process is totally different. And this is why it's important to understand and study why do you need the AI? Do you have all the components? And the most important component is data. We have the know-how, because this is where we come from the industrial world. The process is there, we understand the process, but sometimes we need to advise as well the client of the value. Because from our perspective, and specifically my perspective on the personal level, I never and will never sell a technology for the sake of being a technology. Most important is the return on investment from that technology. What's the value proposition? What's the problem it's solving? What's in it for you, Mr. Client? If there's no value in that, I will never sell it, because I need to be convinced that it brings value to the client. If it doesn't, we walk away. Many cases, we walked away because we did not see a value in just selling the technology and walk away. Because at the end of the day, you need to get the return on investment.
You know what, in this world where there is so much hype around AI technology, I think I can actually really appreciate the more restrained approach that you have here, which is laser focused on the outcomes. Now, given that we gone sideways from the topic a little bit, maybe this would be the moment to return to this idea of data centers. There's a couple of different angles that we've already hitted it from. One being there is going to be an enormous demand for energy simply because of data centers, but also around in their building. Can you talk to me a little bit around Aviva and its relationship to that sector?
So what we're doing currently with the beauty with Aviva, that a lot of the offerings and technologies are there that can be implemented irrelevant of the vertical or the segment that you are after, be it oil and gas, power, data center, infrastructure, food and beverage, life science. So we're agnostic from what's going on, and this is where that beauty of agnosticity, if I can say that, allow us to really serve different verticals. If we go to data centers, again, going back to the simulation and design, because the problem with the data centers today is the thermal management or the thermal output. So, okay, you go ahead and build the data center, but then you have to manage the problem of the heat and the energy and the thermal output that comes out of that. So if you're gonna do that after you have built it and operated, it's too late. And this is where as well we can help with the energy production as well. Do I need all this power to run that data center or that facility? Before I build it and operate it, let me go back to the basics. Let me simulate and design properly. And this is where you mentioned earlier about the potentially, before we started, we talked about Schneider Electric, Aviva, and NVIDIA as well, where we're collaborating together. So with NVIDIA, we're taking our digital twin technology on the simulation and design, embedded in their, or working closely with their Omniverse ecosystem, and then we're creating a solution that helps in the design and simulation of a data center and assessing potentially what is the amount of power that we need, and we can simulate all that process before we start going and building and operating it. So we're minimizing the amount of energy needed on data centers to solve the problem of thermal management. And this is a way that currently today technology is available with some AI-infused capabilities in it that can help you to really design and build a data center today much better than what you did maybe 5 years back or 10 years back.
So you just mentioned you can build it much better today than you can 5 years back. Let's talk about the future here. What does the future for this technology look like? How will it change the process in 5 years' time?
The technology is evolving because what we are doing today, maybe we're not able to do 10 years back. What the future holds potentially is a more integrated ecosystem and partners together, because the beauty of what Aviva is doing is really collaborating with other technology owners and inventors to try to bring the best of breed from different parties in order to come up with the best solution that serves potentially the clients or what we want to do. Because Aviva philosophy is we need to make sure that we really use the resources available for us in the most efficient and effective way. And hence, wherever we can build as a technology to allow us to reduce that and minimize the utilization of resources so we can eventually preserve the environment, meet the targets of net zero, help with the sustainability. This is all in our DNA as such, and this is how we build our technology as we move forward. So potentially, the technology will continue to advance to support things of doing it much better today than tomorrow. And potentially, when you are doing that, what we talked about, the billions of dollars cost, potentially will reduce as we move forward as well.
Last question for you today. Let's talk specifically about Aviva's future. What does the roadmap look like for the UAE and Middle East?
This year, it's a very critical year of what's going on in the region. So our first priority is really to stay close to our clients, to support them to maneuver through the situation that we're going through. And we've been doing that since end of February. So this is, if you want, our first priority, aligned with, for sure, the well-being of our resources. So we're managing that the best that we can do, and till now we're successful. What we want to continue doing is continue being the industrial partner of choice for our clients, to help them achieving on their targets of sustainability, net zero, and potentially help them do things in a better and optimized way. Second, what we want to do is to bring as well our Connect, which is our industrial cloud platform, to the region. Because of the data residency mandates that we see mainly from the oil and gas and power industry, they are not able to take advantage of the technology that we've been developing for the past years. And the aim is to bring it to the region, be it in UAE, Qatar, and Saudi as a starting point, because this will allow them to take the best, to use the best of what Aviva has developed in the AI, analytics, ML space, and so on and so forth. Third, as well, what we want to focus more and more is, because we have a university program where we try to bring all this new technology to the universities, to the students, that potentially when they go out and go to the market, they are already equipped with the latest and greatest technologies available in there, so they support as well the environment that they work with. And this is a way as well to have a collaboration university, so we can as well get feedback from them to enhance the technologies that we are developing. So we don't create the technologies on our own. We always get feedback from our clients, what problems are they trying to face. And now we're expanding it to universities to get as well ideas from the new generation that can help us put all of that into perspective and keep on advancing our technology. And we need to continue growing our business as we have been doing for the past 4 years. The potential is there in the market. Hopefully, when the situation goes back to normal, we will see a major demand, and I will see what we're forecasting, major demands on optimization and preventive maintenance to make sure that clients are gonna make the maximum out of what they currently have with investing in digital technology and not necessarily in CapEx projects, which goes back to the billions of dollars discussions. So the technology is there to really try to optimize and make more from the current assets. And this is what we're going to keep on doing in the 2026 and onward.
It only exists for me to thank you for your time today. Thank you very much for joining us and for all of your insights.
Thank you, Matthew. I appreciate your time as well. Thank you.